Welcome back to my channel, guys. Obsessed with Christmas. I'm Rebecca, and today we're going to be finishing the farm platform. This is where you will get to see the rest of the landscaping put in, as well as us finishing our water features that we started last time, but you know, the plaster and the paint, all that does have to dry. All right, guys, on part 2 of the farm, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to mark out where the river goes. Because of course in my brain you need something here. This doesn't just wander off into nowhere and then it's just ground. So we're going to do a small river, nothing big. The goal is to sort of put it, right where you might want it. And then I've already painted over this. So then in the back, see, it's not as big here. And so that's okay. You can it can be your imagination of, where this goes. Maybe it gets bigger right there. And now that I have this, then when we take it off, right there, I can see this is where here and then here. And so from here, what I can do is maybe get some tracing paper or any see-through paper really, and trace out a template, and then I can make my realistic water with that. All right, I've got a piece of parchment paper, which might not be the best for seeing. But I can feel, I went over it again. So I can feel where this is, and then I just need to find the start place. Yep, right there. Oops. Okay. To find the other one. Where is it? There it is, right? Yep, right there. Okay, so I've drawn out my template. What I'm doing now is just the last minute. Y'all know how this works. I am, pretty much breaking through the paper. I had this brainwave just a second ago. And I'm breaking through this paper. And I'm going to cut this out like we did with our pond. That way we don't have to carve into the styrofoam. There is another way to do this where you don't have to do this, where you can just pour. I've never done that. And since we've already started work on this platform, now does not feel like the time to do something new. Okay. Yep. So now we have a template that we can work from. The building will still go here, although as you can probably see, like, how are you supposed to get up, So we may even cut some more. Let me see. Need to stand where you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So I would even maybe like do this number, right? I'd cut some of this off and cut that off. And then this I will slant down to, because right now it's more or less, you know, here it's too much for the carts to get up. All right, I have the Proxon set up. So we're going to turn it on. This knob controls the how hot it's going to be. For something like this, because we're doing more precision cuts, I personally would recommend a little bit lower. It is still going to cut beautifully. And see, remember I changed my mind on that one, and now we're going to go this way. See how smooth that cut is? Awesome. And now we're just going to trim this off. There are accessories for this, of course, if you want to buy some accessories. A lot of people on Etsy have them, so it should be no problem for you. To do this angle cut, because I don't have some of the tools, I'm going to use a different piece, but for this part here, I think I'm going to have to go all the way through, actually. So I'm going to mark those as the starting and stopping points so I know to cut those off. I think how that will work. And I'm just following along my cut. It's okay if it's not the size. This is the part that's actually going to be cut out. I can't really go back. And we're going to keep this piece. This is part of it. We're just cutting out the middle river part. Okay? And the river part is what we're cutting out. Because we're going to glue it to the farm. And then we'll plaster over it. And then we'll finish painting. So I'm not going to pour the resin for the other part until this is done, because it's going to have to be outside. And resin and heat are not the best of friends. Okay, turn that off. I always also like to then unplug my stuff afterwards. Okay, got our styro goo again. Let me just make sure before we glue. Off camera, I cut this at an angle. We're going to take that out of the way. It's always trying to get in the way. Take that extra glue off. And also doing this has the bonus of hiding that one corner piece that was a little broken. So 2 birds, 1 stone there, actually. Okay. glue down real quick. I can kind of get the shape that I want. Okay. And I'm going to rotate this around in a minute and then put something heavy on top just to help ensure that it dries without too many, without any super big gaps. Actually, let's take that part out. Okay, this will dry and then we will come back. We will plaster. I might actually make that a bit bigger because of the plaster is going to make it very small. I don't know. Oh, I can't quite decide. But that glue sticks fast. There we go. Okay. So we'll leave this now to dry. Plaster. And then we will come back to finish painting this whole thing. Now that everything is dry, we are going to spray our glue so that we can put down our static grass, our dirt, our rocks, and snow. Maybe I should have turned this around for this part of the tutorial, but it's fine. Or maybe I should have laid the ballast down first, who knows. I feel like laying, at least the way I do it, I like laying the static grass down first. And when I get to the river, you know, to the water areas, I am going to cover it probably with parchment paper or aluminum foil, something like that. I'm going to do some of the ballast. I'm trying to cover up kind of the holes, not just do a whole layer of ballast and then the grass. And then we'll top it off. I think I like not doing the gray for this part, because by the end, I mean, you don't even see it, so. And that's one less step to do in our Christmas Village journey. If that's something you want to do, though, by all means, do it. I'm only going to do this little part here. It would be very boring to watch me, probably for the next 20 minutes, shake all the various, you know, stuff out. Plus I'm gonna probably need more of this anyway. Now this I am putting over some of the brown ballast, the dirt. Okay. And then once we get the snow on top, that'll really seal the deal. We may even put another layer. This is like layer 1, actually. Alcohol first. Ooh, sometimes it does that. Where it's sort of, you know, all these water droplets go everywhere. So we're probably going to do another layer, because now you can really see all of the black that I attempted to cover up. Don't worry, we'll do another layer. It'll be fine. Okay guys, I got sidetracked since coming back from the store to get more wild honey, since I was completely out of it. So I have finished the ground cover. This is a whole mess that you can see. We have all the things here. And I did put the highlight on here for the rocks, which we can go over some more in the next platform. I will definitely go over that some more for you. I put some rocks, just glued some of the rocks down, just used the scenic glue. The cement is the spray. And put it right here. This is just overflow. Yeah, that's just overflow. So I'm going to take it out, and once it all dries, probably tomorrow, like everything is dry, and give it some taps to knock off all the extra before I pour the resin. The resin will be our last thing that we do. These bushes here just mark where the mill is going to go, so that I don't forget and I don't put the rocks, because then it's going to be harder for the mill to sit on these rocks. So that way I can put the rocks up to here. This will be, you know, that area, so we don't have to worry about it. And then just back here. So we're going to pick up right there. And if it sounds funny, I am sorry. My microphone has decided to temporarily desert me, and so I'm just using the built-in microphone on the phone. Okay, so we're gonna put in, oops, sorry. I know you don't want to see my arm. There we go. We'll just put in a couple like that. Just real, oops, again, I gotta pay attention. Real easy peasy, guys. Just glue some of these. These are just sort of landscape type features. It adds interesting detail. If you do not have this, or alternatively, if you do not want to buy this, it is okay. It took me a while as well to amass my collection. If you are starting from scratch this year, if you're starting from scratch, actually leave me a comment below. Anybody brand new to villaging or just scene building, maybe you don't do villaging, but maybe you do Warhammer or something and you're building scenes and you found me. So leave me a comment if you are brand new, or how long have you been doing this? Tell me that too. I'm always curious. Because my amassing all of this was probably, counting the spray bottles, don't quote me, but it was over 100 for sure. And I want to add just a tiny little bit. And we have a lot of bushes here actually, because this is right by the water, and you know, stuff grows by the water, right? So we're gonna add some more glue. It's gonna be so pretty. I can't wait. Well, I have to wait. We all have to wait, don't we, for our village time to put the village up. It's not as easy as just, okay, I'm done now, I'm putting it up. At least not at my house. I have to wait until it's actually time. Okay, I see a tiny bit. It's right here. Let me try to reposition. There we go. I just repositioned the light a little bit. Sorry about that. I was busy focusing on this part and not that. There. And there we go. So again, this is the back of the village area, right? Like the mill's going to go here. We're facing this way, so it's actually going to be, this is the back, that's the front. So you might wonder, why are you putting all this effort in? Well, you never know. So I do film this village, and what if as I go to film it, it's like, oh dear, that could have been done better. So, and once I put the village up, I'm done for the year. I don't like to continue to mess with it, so I just want to sort of leave it. I think along this way we might actually, I love these bushes, y'all. I love all these bushes. I will not subject you to all of it though. Everything has dried. I did some of the stuff off camera. I got sort of into it, excited about getting this done. And the more you do, at least that's the way it works with me, the more that you do, then the better it starts looking, and the more you just want to keep going. So I have glued. I used all my scenic glue. Whoops, there goes a piece. That's okay. I used all my scenic glue and glued the rocks and the bushes down, and I very carefully tilted that over and got all of those out. I did use my little vacuum thing from Woodland Scenics, which I have found that it works best when it's just straight up and down, and then you keep holding it until you turn it, because I did that the very first time I turned. I stopped pushing the button and I turned it and all the stuff fell out. So keep holding it until, you know, you can get it off. But it does work fairly well. I was pleased. Good investment for what we do here, right? Very, very tiny things on small scales. This I have put down just to help try to keep the rocks, you know, in their spot where they should go. Yeah. I might do a couple of bigger rocks too as well around our tank. And welcome to Texas, it's a tank. Just a couple, not a lot. We don't want to overwhelm it, right? Because also this is where the animals get, well, I guess one stream where the animals get their water. They could come over to the river where the mill will be also to get their water, I suppose. But probably most of the time, whoops, some fell in there. That's okay. I'm trying to minimize what falls in there. Just not working as well as I saw in my head. Yeah, okay. That way there's less to shake off, less to vacuum, you know, as we carry on. And as soon as I do this, I'm going to move it so that way the glue doesn't try to hold down the foil. And then we have another problem on our hands. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to take this up. Still a lot got in, but the foil did sort of work. Maybe not as well as I had hoped, but it did work. All right, guys, let's take a look at this guy in action. It does have a light, which is helpful. Right now there's good light, but, you know, still, I don't know if it picks up on camera, I guess a little bit. Once this dries, so for you guys again, it'll be a second. For me, it'll be when I get home this evening. We're going to pour the water. I don't know what the right artistic word would be, but you can see that I've tried to put sort of different colors and, you know, mushed them together with the paintbrush, just sort of tapping different colors to try to give it the look of moving water versus sitting still water. I mean, in a tank, you will have water that sits still, but because it's more enclosed, so unless the wind blows, there's not anywhere for it to go. But in the river, like here, it's going to be flowing. So we need to try to make that happen, right? Now this is once again, the Realistic Water by Woodland Scenics. In my area, and probably other areas too, it's about the same price. It's $27 plus tax, $26.99. And this you can color. They do have little colors you can use with Woodland Scenics. However, I find personally that food coloring works just as well for a fraction of the price, because I think those are about $8. And I'm sure you have food coloring. If you don't, you might want to go buy these. But if you do have food coloring, I mean, one drop will do this whole bottle. Okay, and this is it's a 16-ounce bottle. So one drop. It colors it very well. I actually overcolored one of my Realistic Water bottles, and so I have to find a way to use it up because it was pricey, but also it's way too blue. Because I want to be able to see the paint job, on the bottom. Now we are ready to pour our realistic water. This is about a 1/2 inch that I used, and it says a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch, I think, at a time. So you're just going to take it all the way down. We're going to let that dry. I want it to come up to the bank. So that might have actually been even a 1/4 pour. Whoops. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, poured 1/8 of an inch. Well, we'll see. So we'll pour it again once this cures, which means once it dries, and it should take about 24 hours. I'm still actually doing this part in the morning. I had to touch up the tank a little bit, but this should take about 24 hours. So tomorrow morning, hopefully I'll be able to pour some more, and we should be finished with this fairly shortly. Okay, guys, and this is the finished product. I am going to add a few water ripples, but because, this takes so long to dry that I'm just going to do that off camera. If y'all liked it, please like the video, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye.